Hello and welcome back to the Warwick F1 show. This week it's me hosting, I'm Will Biddles, and I'm joined by Will Kingswood.
Yeah, I'm here. It was actually a good race.
It was actually more fun than I thought it would be. We'll be joined by Chinmay a bit later, but he's running a little bit late for once. But no, we'll get into the race. So, first time at a new track. What were your opinions of it to start with?
Right. It didn't start very well. With Friday, obviously there were the issues with the manhole cover meant that practice 1 was cancelled and then practice 2. The fans were all kicked out, and I'm sure we'll discuss that in a second. But for me, overall, the track was actually pretty good. Like, the DRS zone, for the first time going there, I think they nailed where they put the DRS zone. It meant I'd shorten it by 50 metres or so. But it meant that there were cars going into the first corner second to last corner side by side. The sphere was really cool, but that's just because it is really cool. That final corner, I think, will become a fan favourite in the next few years. That fast turn 17, I think it is. The Lewis Hamilton Pierre Gasly overtake, that was seat of your pants stuff. But generally, I do think it's a pretty decent track, and I think there are overtaking spots throughout that maybe obviously you get most of your overtaking done on the back straight, but there are other overtaking spots that good or drivers can use and potentially get past the person in front of them.
Yeah, I think a lot of drivers were a bit sceptical, especially Max Verstappen was very, very vocal to start. But I think the race itself was set up really well. As a circuit, it's really good as a race venue. Maybe not so as a driver track. It doesn't have those exciting kind of layouts that you get at, say, Interlagos or Silverstone. But it was quite interesting. I think, what are your kind of key highlights in the race itself?
So the Max Verstappen start, which I have opinions on, and how that was dealt with. It was a very weird start because there was chaos everywhere, as I think about 3 cars ended up spinning. I think Carlos Sainz spun into Bottas, Alonso spun into Bottas, Sainz just sort of...
Sainz just braked really early, turned, and the car just had no grip.
Yeah. Hamilton was looking pretty good until his unfortunate puncture, but then still came back up through the field. I think he was, personally, for me, one of the drivers of the day. Lance Stroll had a really underrated performance.
Yeah, Lance Stroll from what,
19th to 5th.
Yeah, what a weekend.
His best weekend of the season, and he's really come through
when it's mattered for them. So they're still in contention for 4th, Aston Martin.
Verstappen obviously coming back from the 5-second penalty, the damage with George Russell. It's interesting incident.
We'll get on to kind of the race and the incidents a bit later, maybe once Chinmay gets here. But we'll go back to the start of the weekend, to perhaps the shortest practice session we've ever had, of 8.5 minutes or whatever it was.
It wasn't a good start to the weekend.
It may be the worst start to a new track ever.
Yeah.
It was horrendous. I mean, from my point of view as a Ferrari fan, it genuinely could not have gone worse.
Yeah. So, for anyone that doesn't know what happened, Carlos Sainz ran over a manhole cover that hadn't been... So, traditionally on street circuits, manhole covers are welded down to prevent, obviously, the air sucking them up into the car and causing all sorts of damage. Unfortunately, or they chose not to weld them down, which meant that the manhole cover was sucked up and completely destroyed Sainz's car, and I think damaged a few other cars as well.
I know Esteban Ocon had some issues, but the main kind of victim, if you like, was Sainz. I mean, he had to replace multiple things as part of the engine, so he had a new battery as well. I think that it went through the whole car to the point he said he even lost his legs went numb for a few seconds, which is terrifying.
Well, apparently you could see through the floor to the ground, essentially.
Yeah, which really isn't what you want. That's
No.
not perfect.
And it wasn't the best, or obviously it wasn't the best start. And then it was kind of compounded. Well, this all took place at 4 a.m. And I woke up and I genuinely, this is so weird, but I genuinely had a dream about the Vegas Grand Prix being an absolute shambles. And I woke up and it was an absolute shambles. And that continued into practice 2 when, with half an hour to go before the delayed start of practice 2, fans were told that they couldn't be in the grandstands anymore, and that meant that people who had paid for Friday saw 9 minutes of running.
Yeah. So the issue was that the workers were only required to work until, I think it was 2 p.m. local time, and it was at 2:30 that the session was meant to resume, and so they were like, well, we can't really safely keep fans in.
Yeah.
So they chucked them all up. Which, is like, it's not great, but they could have done something about it. But I think the main, very big controversial part is what F1's response to this was, which was to give them £200 in their own gift shop.
F1's response was basically say skill issue. And just leave everyone to their own devices. I think there's now a class action lawsuit.
There is now a class action lawsuit, which I was
completely fair enough.
If I was the organisers, I would be trying to get a very, very expensive lawyer, because there is nowhere there.
I'd say now we're getting legal, but I think they've just got to settle at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's their fault for not planning to something like this could happen. It was a pretty lengthy delay. I mean, I woke up at like 8:39 and I was like, oh, practice is about to start.
Yeah.
Which definitely shouldn't have been happening, but I think it had like a lasting effect throughout the weekend as well. Like drivers just constantly losing sleep or just not being able to sleep in some cases, and leading to not necessarily errors, but people just weren't necessarily in the right headspace, I think.
Yeah. And I think it goes into as well something that was a sort of theme throughout the weekend and was very championed by Max Verstappen in particular, in that Vegas was less of a sporting event and more of a show. And I mean, now we've had the whole weekend. Obviously, after Friday, those criticisms were ramped up. Now Sunday came, we had what was in essence a pretty good race.
Probably one of the races of the season.
Yeah. Do you think that those criticisms are valid? That it was more of a show? Obviously, we had the opening ceremony, which was very Hunger Games.
Yeah, they are
esque.
There were the 3 drivers I remember saying anything of note was you had Lewis Hamilton saying that it shouldn't impact people like the locals, which it definitely has. It shouldn't have it shouldn't be impacting the locals. Lando was complaining about it, and then Max as well. Can't remember which one it was, saying that it was 90. I think it was Max said 99% show, 1% sporting event, which it kind of felt like, especially after Friday, where there was hardly any. Well, Friday morning, evening, morning, whatever you want to say it.
Saturday morning.
It's Thursday night there, Friday morning here. The running, it wasn't great. I still think it's not ideal. I liked the idea of the Bellagio fountains for the podium, but they just kind of took them there, did an interview and came back. It felt very pointless.
Yeah.
They could have just put the podium in front of the fountains, which would have looked awesome.
That would have been really cool.
That would have been so cool. Or like on the actual lake, because I think that's where they had different sport now, but they had the NFL draft in Vegas earlier this year, and that was on, like, basically around the Bellagio fountains, like on the water. Like, why F1 couldn't have done that, I don't know.
I think there is a point with it being more of a show, but it's Vegas. I think this is the first race that F1 themselves have managed. Most of the races are managed by the FIA. There's a 10-year contract of a building worth a few $100 million, a permanent paddock space. I think it went a bit far, but I think it struck almost the right balance of event plus show. And this is the first time there are going to be teething problems for an event like this, and I think that next year and the next few years, these kinks will be ironed out, and then I think we will kind of get that showcase America event that we had with Miami, and I think Miami's in a lot of trouble because Miami doesn't really offer anything unique anymore.
Vegas as a race is what they want Miami to be.
Yeah.
Like, the actual racing on the track is very fun. It's quite flowing. Miami is to an extent, but it's like the straight on Vegas is a bit of a joke. But the one in Miami is like, it's not wide enough as a track. It's very narrow.
The thing about the straight at Vegas is because everyone's running such thin wings, the DRS effect is kind of mitigated. So straight almost needs to be that long. And I said at the start, I don't think the DRS was over. I don't think it was too powerful. No, I don't think it was not powerful enough. I think maybe I'd move it a bit, ever so slightly less, but
no, I think
it was fine.
I think it was in the right spot. I don't think they could have moved it any more back because then it's almost too long.
Yeah.
And any shorter, I think you wouldn't have seen enough overtakes. I think they got it right. So you had enough times where if you were overtaken, you could kind of tuck back in and then get back out again, which was quite exciting. Yeah. You didn't know who was going to have that advantage. But yeah, so we'll move on now to the next session. So we had a calamitous Friday or Thursday. Then we got to qualifying, and no one really knew who was good. Ferrari hadn't really had a chance to show their speed yet, so although they had looked good, but it was a bit of an unknown. And then we had some issues, not so much issues, but just there was a red flag at the end of practice 3 with, I think it was Albon lost a wheel.
Yeah.
So that was curtailed a little bit as well. So it's not the ideal start for the team. So.
I mean, this was something we forgot to mention, that Carlos Sainz having a 10-place grid penalty from his sort of incident in practice. We're joined by Chinmay now, and he'll dive straight into it. Your thoughts on the Sainz 10-place grid penalty?
Harsh. Very, very harsh. I think that's kind of unanimous. I mean, everyone except for one Toto Wolff, I think.
One Mercedes team.
Was it?
Yeah,
was it Mercedes? Because
yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Did you not hear Carlos's comments after the race?
I did, but I'm like, obviously, like, I am a Mercedes fan. I'm not trying to say that they're in the right here. If Mercedes did say that, then definitely in the wrong. But I thought I read reports that it wasn't a team. I thought it was just the FIA being quite strict on which rules that they could and could not apply.
It was that. So the FIA were like, we really want to, but we can't. But if all the teams agree, then we can overrule it. You just want to have one. And all the teams apart from Mercedes were like, yeah, that's ridiculous. And then the whole press conference, I think it was Saturday morning, or might have even been between the sessions actually on the Thursday night, where it was just Fred Vasseur getting very angry very quickly, and Toto just trying to defend the whole event, saying, "Oh, this happens all the time."
I know Toto got very
paid off.
We would never accuse that. He got passionate. That was the word I was looking for.
Passionate is the neutral term I can think of.
But no, quali. I enjoyed quali. Well, not Q2.
I thoroughly enjoyed qualifying.
Qualifying was quite fun.
Yeah, Max Verstappen fans enjoyed it as well because Leclerc got P1.
Yeah,
they knew they were guaranteed a win.
I think quali. It's kind of a more standard quali. Williams looked pretty good. Logan Sargent P6.
Yeah.
That man, when he steps on American soil, the man's on another level.
And so is Leclerc as well. He's had
what is a kilometre?
Yeah.
Cute eagle sounds.
Albon up there. It was a bit of a varied quali, obviously.
Gasly as well.
Yes, Gasly, very, very strong quali.
I think it's a track where, in quali especially, you could really push it to the limit. And you could find second or tenths of a second easily.
I also think it's a quali that's very unique because of how cold the track is, because it requires you to get maybe more than one lap in. I think that's the mistake Mercedes made with Lewis Hamilton, is they only did one lap. and just that lap
Yeah.
wasn't quick, and then he messed up the second lap afterwards.
Yeah, not just that, track evolution, being a brand new track, new surface, low grip.
Yeah.
Obviously, no data because this is the first time we've raced in this first time on this Vegas circuit. So obviously, it's gonna be a very unpredictable quality in terms of the teams literally don't know what to expect.
Yeah, Perez they tried to
Red
be
Bull had a
optimistic with
nightmare.
Perez. Yeah, I think quali was fairly standard.
It was like decent. It was like exciting to the end. Like you didn't know who was going to get it. But
Yeah.
you had an idea.
And then, so it was a Ferrari 1-2
Yes.
on the track.
And Charles Leclerc looked very quick.
Yes.
And to be fair, we move on to it now. He kept that up during the race.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, nice 6 o'clock start, which was not painful.
Yes.
Don't know how the Australians do it.
Did you wake up for it?
I did actually.
I think we all three woke up for it. All three woke up for the race for the first time this season.
I think I switched it on just as the lights went out.
Yeah.
I woke up at 5:30.
Oh my
I
god.
know. I managed to turn on Sky literally as a formation that was happening, so I was lucky.
Thing is, I went to bed at 2. So
I don't think I was much before that. I wanted to see Martin's chaotic grid walk. I just knew it'd be horrendous in Vegas.
that was Shaq being Shaq.
Yeah, and he just kept asking why there were so many people on the grid.
I think the grid walk was, as far as I'm aware, there weren't too many weird occurrences.
No.
No. But before I forget, my new favourite camera angle in F1 is like the final corner, as if you're looking towards it. It's like a mirror of Monaco at the finish line.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of see the cars coming round the corner at you.
You have to show me that one. I don't think I saw
But it
that.
looked really cool, like that you had at the end as you had the overtakes.
Yeah. So we had, we'll get into the start now. Carnage. I think it's fair to say. Starting off right at the front, and I have opinions on this matter, and that is the incident right at the start between Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. So Verstappen gets a slightly better start than Leclerc, and they go into turn one, a long left-hander round to turn 2 and turn 3. Verstappen seemingly forgets to turn properly for the corner, forces himself and Leclerc off the track, and then they both make it back on, and Verstappen comes out in P1, and then Leclerc is P2 as well.
Yeah.
Just ahead of George Russell. Verstappen got a 5-second time penalty. What do we think?
In normal circumstances, it would have done nothing. In this race, it kind of seemed fair.
Yeah.
But I think it should just be you give the place back.
I think that's a good point, because when we all saw, I think, well, at least for me, when I saw 5 seconds, I'm like, oh, Verstappen's romping up. He'll be 15 seconds ahead. That won't matter. Then Leclerc did come back, but without maybe that hindsight. And we've seen earlier in the season drivers get told, switch the place back. The one that I can think of is Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris in Singapore. Lewis, I think, was kind of Singapore weird turn 1, kind of forced to cut the corner, got ahead of Norris, and was told to reverse the positions, and did so. It did seem to take a while for Max Verstappen to not reverse the position, but be given the penalty when
I mean,
he's got form for this sort of thing.
He does, but Ted Kravitz, who may be Max Verstappen's least favourite person, actually thought that it was a harsh penalty in the first place. He called it tough racing, and it's the first lap incident. But I'm like,
and not to mention, tyres are cold.
I do think them both ending up off the track.
That was my issue. If
that's
Max had
the
made
thing.
the corner, I'd be like, you know what, fair enough. But he didn't even make the corner.
No, it's very Brazil, Saudi Arabia, 2021 driving.
I don't think it was deliberate. I think they both just undercooked it a little bit. Well, definitely Max.
I don't think Max intended to go off the... I think that was probably Max's game plan. I just don't think he intended to take it quite as far, probably.
Yeah, it's not like Brazil where that you just forgot to
that
turn the
man
steering
went
wheel.
to Colombia at that point with that corner. But we aren't talking about Brazil 2021. That's a story for another time. But I think, I would probably have preferred them to reverse the positions just because of previous precedent. But I think a 5-second time penalty was fair enough. And I don't know, we'll maybe bring in the other Max Verstappen incident with George Russell. So later on in the race, as Verstappen's trying to climb towards P1 after the second safety car, he tries to get past George Russell on the corner just before the long straight. Russell doesn't see him, and then they collide, and it damages both of their cars. And then Russell was given a 5-second time penalty.
Yes.
Or I mean, personally, that 5 seconds for Russell, I felt was pretty harsh.
No, I agreed with it. It was a very optimistic move by Max, but the gap was there.
Yeah.
And it's not like he ducked out at the last minute. Like he'd clearly been going for it, and then George was just like it's not that George left room and Max overcooked it. It's like George just went for the apex.
Yeah, I think for me it's like an unfortunate racing incident. I guess maybe it's the damage that kind of puts it, but I don't think...
Is that not what caused the second safety car?
Yes, the second safety car was the debris from the collision between Russell and...
So it was after...
Oh.
It was after the first round of pit stops.
Oh, no,
when
you're
Max
right.
had his 5 seconds.
Yeah,
and
you're
had to
right.
climb back up.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Because I thought that second safety car was very odd. I thought that could have been dealt with.
I would say no.
It would have been fine. A VSC.
I thought a VSC would have been fine.
Yeah.
Well, it ruined Ferrari's strategy.
He had such a good race.
Yeah.
I think Leclerc was genuinely unlucky with the timing.
Yeah, so what you think, George Russell, Verstappen?
I'd say the penalty was worth it, but then I'm also... But even if it was the fact that no penalty was given, I would be fine with that as well. But I think the penalty was justified.
That's the sort of thing I think 5-second time penalties should be for, and we should be giving harsher penalties for other sorts of incidents where maybe one driver is kind of knocked out of the race.
Yeah.
So that a 5-second, it should be for if there's just... Because I don't think either of them were at fault. And like Russell...
I think Russell more so.
Yeah, Russell was more so, but
not egregiously.
Yeah. He's looking at the apex rather than in his mirrors. That's kind of understandable. Verstappen's going for a move, also kind of understandable.
Yeah.
It's just an unfortunate incident.
George's excuse was, I didn't expect him to go there because there's a long straight afterwards. I'm like, that's not really a defence, George.
It's not a defence, but it's kind of...
It's valid. But
it's kind of valid.
I wouldn't say, it's fine. I didn't think the current world champion would try and overtake me in a rogue spot. Yeah.
And he's got form for licking the stamp and sending it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that took us to the second half of the race, and Verstappen, kind of did Verstappen things.
Yeah,
and
Verstappen's just inevitable.
I think it would have been close.
Yes, I do agree.
Had Leclerc not locked up his wheels.
Because he had... I think he had like an 8 or 9 second advantage over Verstappen.
It's more than that, I think.
It might have been 12, actually, yeah. You might
With
be
the
right.
5 seconds, I think it was a decent amount anyway.
Then safety car comes out, everyone pits.
Apart from
Ferrari.
Which I think was the right call.
I wouldn't change anything because Leclerc just pitted. He only had about 4 or 5 lap old hards.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Well, with hindsight you might, but I don't disagree with that decision at the time.
I would have left Sainz out. That was my issue. I suppose he needed to pit again though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so Verstappen gets past, so does Perez, but then...
Perez got past first.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. And then...
Perez took the lead for like 2 laps.
Did Verstappen overtake Perez?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Perez had pitted early.
Yeah.
Really early, and then gained under the new safety car.
Yeah.
So, and I think he was in like a good place to pit as well. So Leclerc only just retook the lead because he only just pitted. Perez came up behind him, overtook him under DRS, but he had the fat rear wing, so he couldn't pull away.
and then
Leclerc got back past a few laps later.
Oh, that was it, yeah. And then Verstappen overtook both of them. And then final corner, or not technically the final corner, final lap. That was a good ending to the race. Yeah. The grandstand
finish. It was a deserved ending.
Yeah. Leclerc overtaking Perez, and as we'll come on to in a bit, I was very happy with that. Not just because it was Leclerc, but for other reasons that we'll discover, because it made my podium perfect.
It does, but it doesn't help Mercedes very much.
No, it does not, and that is something that is now, I think,
really interesting.
at the final race, 4 points.
4 points.
between Ferrari. That's going to be a
At a track that Mercedes weren't great at last year and Ferrari were pretty good at last year. Especially Leclerc.
Yeah, could be a close one
Could be
to
really
finish
good.
off.
And Aston Martin aren't too far behind McLaren. 12 points or 11 points.
There's stuff to talk about.
There's
Perez securing P2 as well. Lewis
Yeah.
Hamilton securing P3. I think that was going to be the result.
Yeah, it was pretty much guaranteed after Brazil
Yeah,
and Austin.
but P4 still a big battle for that
Very big.
between the
I think it's 3 drivers realistically.
Sainz, Norris, and Alonso.
Alonso.
Then kind of P.
Leclerc's a little. I think Leclerc's clear of Russell by now. Just
Yeah.
not guaranteed, but I think he's closer to Sainz than he is. I think he's 12 points behind Sainz, which is silly considering the amount of reliability issues he thinks he's had.
Yeah, but it does set Abu Dhabi up to be a pretty interesting end to the season. I think it's now time for the winners and spinners of the weekend.
Yes.
Yeah. Winner, probably first things first, Verstappen. Just
I don't
He
think
still won the race.
I don't think he's either.
It's his best performance of the season. I think.
yes.
He wasn't the fastest.
I
It was
no.
one. It was like the Ferrari and Red Bull were very close on pace. I think the Ferrari was quick on the mediums, the Red Bull was quick on the hards.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's his
I
best.
wouldn't say he's a winner.
I wouldn't say it's his best performance, just
Okay.
because I think there have been races where he's scored grand slams and he's just been so
But I
dominant.
think his ability to come through the field was quite impressive, multiple times.
True. Yeah, I think it's up there with his best performance. I would say.
Not ever.
that-
I meant more this season.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say the incident at the start.
Yes.
It reinforces the notion for some people that Max Verstappen doesn't have good racecraft. And I am interested to see what will happen if next year the Red Bull finally have a competitor.
I don't think it's an issue.
I
I,
don't
think it was just a tyre thing.
Yeah. I think spinner, definitely McLaren.
Yeah. Well, no, Lando Norris.
Lando Norris.
Well,
True.
he actually had a very good. Well,
Yeah.
McLaren's strategy was dreadful.
I'm just going to put as an overarching, especially considering expectations, McLaren will probably be a spinner on the race.
I would say I think I agree just about judging by their quality. Then obviously good to see Lando Norris all right after that incident, very quick incident
Yes.
as
very high
well. So I would say overall just a spinner, not a big one, but a
Yeah, because
small
both
spinner.
McLaren's also out in Q1. That's
Yeah,
why.
that was embarrassing.
A winner, and I think personally my driver of the day, Lance Stroll.
Okay.
19th to 5th.
Yeah, he had a good weekend.
If Alonso does that,
Oh yeah.
everyone is shouting it to the rooftops, and I do think it's a bit harsh on Stroll that no one has kind of. There were people taking note of it, but no one's really put it up in limelight.
Yeah, he had a very good weekend. Well, had a very good race.
Mm.
I think the rest of his weekend wasn't great.
Did the safety cars help them? Yes,
Yes.
of course. They were kind
But
of
they had
perfect.
basically everyone that
Yeah,
apart from the Ferraris.
but
In that case, maybe Ocon as well, because he went from 16th to 4th.
I was
yeah,
gonna say,
but I
Ocon
think
had a good.
they made their own luck by pitting under the first safety car
Oh yeah.
because the second safety car was perfectly timed.
Yeah.
For kind of that point, but you make your own luck, like I
Exactly.
said. And yeah, I think Ocon up there as well, especially Alpine have been so weird this season because they've been very average and then just kind of got weirdly good results at some races.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for a spinner, I'm gonna go Williams.
Yes.
Their
That
strat,
race.
yeah.
Especially Sargent.
No, I wouldn't say
No,
especially
they had
P6
Sargent.
to 16th.
Well, what did Albon was what like P5
P5 to P12.
It's not
It's
much
not
better.
much better, is it? Their strategy was appalling.
It was dreadful.
Yes.
Their quality was good.
Their quality was
P5
very
and
good.
P6.
They were just quick in a straight line.
The other, they
I think I might be wrong, but I think Sargent had quite a poor start, which is why he dropped a lot initially.
I think he also had the worst of the two strategies as well.
Yeah.
It's just a poor race for them, but no one else behind them really benefited. So they're still in the pole. They're still in the prime seat for seventh at Abu Dhabi. Winner Lewis Hamilton.
No.
No.
What?
No.
Right, hear me out.
Where did he finish?
That's a good question. P8, P7.
P7.
Right.
Which on track was P8,
Yes.
Hear me out.
having started 12th.
minus. He made 15 overtakes.
Yeah, because he crashed twice
He didn't crash. What's the second time?
with Piastri. The
Yeah,
first
but
time wasn't his fault.
Well, yeah, maybe Sainz hadn't rear-ended him.
Yeah.
So he drops down because Sainz has a skill issue. Climbs back up. Then as he's overtaking Piastri, it's an unfortunate puncture.
It's his fault.
It's an unfortunate
It's his fault.
It's an unfortunate.
It's his fault.
Okay, let me be the balancing factor. It's his fault.
Yeah.
It's an unfortunate puncture.
It was a skill issue. That's what
Yes,
it was.
it was a skill issue.
This is so rude. It
But
was an
true.
unfortunate. Fine, but not a spinner.
No, I wouldn't
No.
say. I wouldn't say he's a winner or a spinner. He just had a mid weekend in a car that
He did
was
have a
the
very-
third fastest car, and he finished 8th.
Well, George Russell didn't have a.
Yeah, George Russell didn't have a great.
George Russell, not spinner.
George
No.
Russell got a. The Mercedes didn't have like the race. Like it would have been if it had been a normal race and they'd just gone off and there had been no collisions. It would have been the Ferraris would have been close with the Red Bulls, I think, just beating them, and then
Mercedes should
Mercedes would have been like a
fifth and
world of
sixth.
their own, like George Russell was for the first half of last season,
Yeah,
and then you probably would have had the Astons. I think maybe
yeah, probably.
because Alonso looked alright to start with.
Fine, not a winner or a spinner. You
The winner was outrageous.
He came back.
He gained what, a quarter of the places Lance Stroll did.
He gained 50. I made 15 and overtakes apparently.
Yeah, but how many were against the same people?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Also, extra shout out to the McLaren pit crew. Yes, another fastest pit
Yeah.
stop.
Didn't they get sub 2 again?
Yeah,
1.99.
Oh my gosh. How they did a 1.8? Well, that's
Yeah, ridiculous.
insane.
I missed the old pit stops though. Was that 1.4 or whatever it was?
No, 1.8 is the all-time record.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This season was the
Oh,
all-time
that's with
record.
the new things.
No, all-time
Oh.
record. The previous was 1.82 in
wow.
Brazil 2019.
Oh.
This was 1.80.
Wow.
Skill.
What world we live in?
Right, overall, winner, I think, the Las Vegas circuit. And we discussed this a bit earlier, but I just think
Yeah.
it is a good racetrack.
As a racetrack, yeah.
Even though I think added that the surface is going to be more set next year.
Yeah, but will it?
It'll be still be 4 degrees, whatever it is.
I guess.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's later in the year next year as well.
it will have cars driving over it, because obviously
Yeah.
it's
public
roads
roads,
around
yeah.
Vegas.
So obviously the rubber's going to be more set at the year end. I would say maybe the lack of grip factor, which is probably one of the biggest factors of it being really good, might not be as strong next year. I'm not saying it's a bad track at all, by the way. It's turned to be a really nice track. So loads of overtakes all over the track as well.
Well, I genuinely... loads of overtakes. I think everything on track was good. I think the tyres were the right
Yeah.
selection.
Yeah.
Like the mediums and the hards work. They still really need to work on making 3 sets of tyres work.
But I like that it's meant to have 2 race tires and a quali tire. I liked that. I see no issue needing 3.
Yeah, that's true. But the tyres were the right option. The DRS was the right length. I think they were in the right places. The straights were the right length with the DRS. There were overtakes at what? I can think of 5 or 6 different positions. There was some into turn 1. There was some into the long straight, before the long straight.
Into the sphere.
Into the sphere as well.
Yeah,
Lewis
turn 4.
Yeah, Hamilton made a few before that corner before the Russell Verstappen incident 1 into turn 17.
Yeah.
There were overtakes everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's not something you normally see at a
No.
F1 race, is it?
No, it's like
No.
This is a good track.
it's what Baku could be if Baku had flowing corners.
It's what Miami should be.
Yeah.
That track is, I
If-
think, in a lot... I know we said it
if they
before, but
did
that's in a lot
Miami-
of trouble.
With the long straight that runs on the strip on the Miami seafront.
I don't know.
It would just
It
wouldn't
would
be the
look
same.
good.
Miami...
Maybe during the day.
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd improve is some of the camera angles.
Yeah, it looks a bit.
Yeah.
I
a bit
think
boring.
the ones on the strip, I think, were on the wrong side of the strip.
Yes.
They should be on the they should have been on the other side. And rather than looking up, I think I should have been more looking down the strip. So there was one like really high up, about halfway down the straight, but it was focused on looking up as opposed to looking down. I think you have one a bit further up the straight that looks down it for a lot longer.
Yeah.
It's a shame you can't really use helicopters.
I think there were, weren't they?
Oh, there might have been, but the track layout really doesn't suit
No.
helicopters
No.
because a 200-mile-an-hour Formula One car's
Really
ever
does
so
quicker.
slightly quicker than a helicopter. That's why some
Use drones.
there are some.
I mean, look at the drone camera footage we've had before.
That's true.
Oh yeah, wasn't it Spain or something?
Yeah, it was at Spain. It was horrendous.
There are some sectors of tracks that work really well for helicopters. Sector 3, I think,
Yeah.
is a great one. And actually, all of Kota, to be fair.
Silverstone.
Yeah,
Maggots and Pickets.
Maggots and Beckett's, that works well. I just don't think it doesn't really work.
It worked out well turn 1 at Spa.
Yeah, it doesn't really work. It just doesn't work at
It
Vegas.
doesn't work on street tracks.
I'd change some of the camera angles. And like you were saying, change the podium to be on the.
Actually, at the fountains.
At the
if you're going to take them
fountains.
all round there, you could even have them drive the cars round.
I'll be honest, I didn't watch the podium
I gave up.
presentation because I'd gone back to bed.
I gave up watching it when it got to like halfway through, like in the limo for the second time. I was like, no.
That was quite funny.
It was-
They just shoved them all in a car together.
It looks so awkward.
Can you imagine it if it was like a Hamilton Verstappen kind of rivalry and they've got to sit in a car for 15 minutes?
Yeah.
They drove them in the Rolls Royce around the track, awkward, go to the most random of places, do the interview where there's literally no one watching.
David called.
Yeah,
There-
and then drive them back to do the podium celebration.
Yeah, there are better ways of doing it, but I think they know that.
I also think they got the trophy spot on. Trophy is sick.
I didn't
It
even
is.
see the
Yeah,
trophy.
Trophy is
very
nice.
Have a look for it, but I mean, what would you change out of the kind of obviously? Yeah, so Friday was like terrible. It was about the worst start that they could have had, but generally, excluding all the pageantry and everything that was obviously going to come with Vegas, I think the on-track weekend was about as perfect as it could have been.
Yeah.
Minus maybe the Verstappen penalty, but whatever. Like, if that's dealt with slightly quicker, then I don't think anything went wrong. And I think it was a good race, good track, an interesting track, like unique conditions.
Yeah.
It's one that I didn't think I'd be saying it, but it's one that I would like to see on the calendar for a while.
I'll be looking. It gives me really like Jeddah vibes. Like,
Yeah.
It's like a good track. It's like it's quite different to anything else. Like the venue's cool. It's at night. It's just different and it's good. It's like a new street track.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll do rating for that, but I think 8.5, 9-ish. I'd probably give it.
I go like 9. I think.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah,
enjoyed
I'll
it.
say 9 as well.
Yeah. Are we missing? Have we forgotten about anyone?
Well, Lando Norris has crashed through third. Don't think so.
I think
It's just really
an
good.
an optimistic race that started a weekend that started badly and ended well.
What we should talk about quickly before we move on to Abu Dhabi predictions is the liveries.
Right.
They were so nice.
They
the
were.
Ferrari livery, oh my god, could that be it all year?
I would like to make a point in that there should probably be a limit on the amount of special liveries that a team can use in the season.
Who's run too many?
Williams have
Yeah,
shown
the
up
Willi-
every race.
The
with a
Williams
different-
one was dreadful as well. Like, it was
Yeah.
just ugly.
I don't want to say the limit should be 1, but I think
three. man.
3. Or like you've got to run 1 for.
I quite like it. Imagine if you had to have a special livery for every race.
What's the point then? I think 3 liveries or maybe 5 races you can have a special livery at, because at some point I think Bernie Eccleston used to be very
Well, he was anti
special
anything.
anything.
Yeah, no helmet special.
Yeah. And I don't mind the helmets being
I like having like 800 helmets.
Yeah.
That's quite cool.
Helmets being unique is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But car liveries, I think we're going slightly too far in the direction of everything is now just every race is just
I
something
think Vegas
special.
definitely needs one.
Yeah.
Miami, I think teams were pushing for.
Mm.
Home races make sense.
Home races make sense.
It's like Ferrari in Italy.
The
Alpha,
Williams
is
Great
in
Britain.
Silverstone. But it's like the McLaren Chrome one was really cool.
It was very underwhelming on what it could have been.
Yeah, but it was like the one they ran in like Singapore and Japan. I was like, there's not really a need for it. It was nice.
The Triple Crown one at Monaco was
But that paired up with their IndyCar liveries.
it
looked horrendous.
It looked like an AlphaTauri with an orange wing.
It looked horrendous.
Well, regardless, it's given us a nice show idea to do a livery tier list for the entire year.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be good.
But no, they did look pretty good, and I still think it's quite easy to tell which car is
So easy.
which.
Yeah. The only issue was the Alfa Romeo being all black.
Oh, I did notice that. It was quite difficult to.
Yeah, that and the Merc.
Yeah, but Merc are anti-fun. With liveries these days.
They has run out of money probably.
And has spent all theirs on the American one.
Aston Martin definitely wasn't allowed to by the company, and Merc just don't like liveries because it never goes off them.
Yeah. Well, the Sphere. Thought that was cool. I just want to talk about the
It
Sphere.
made me laugh. It's like, yeah, we won't have like any bright colours. Halfway through qualifying, the Chrome logo comes on.
Didn't they ban yellow, blue, and red, and then the Chrome livery?
It might have been green actually on the red, but it was something I was like, oh my word.
It was unique. I like the emoji with the helmet on.
I really want someone to crash there and just have it looking down at what's going on.
Did you see that Valtteri Bottas photo with the Sphere? It's like a blue and black kind of thing in the background.
Maybe.
And it does go quite hard. It
Oh,
was on
yes,
F1 picks that go
No,
hard.
the best one is Lando Norris getting knocked out of Q1 with Danny Rick in the background.
The Sphere is cool. That is the thing. Vegas is cool
Special.
and special. And I think, yes, it will be a bit of a show. But for one weekend out of the 23, I think we can handle it.
I think everyone knows it's there for the show.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, of course, it wasn't without its issues. It had a very clunky start, but the race, the quality, I think everything else just lived up to it.
Even Max embraced it.
Yeah,
right at the end.
I think it's shown they really need to rethink Miami.
I
the
don't.
more and more I think about Miami, the less
Well, the
It
more
need-
the less I think about Miami. Almost
the timing. Like, in the middle of the day is boring.
sunset race.
You've got like a motorway going. Like, yeah, it's cool that the stadium's in the background, but like, no,
It's
I guess-
ugly.
yeah, like there's no like scenery.
It's so underwhelming.
It's artificial.
Yeah, it's too artificial. Like Vegas is artificial,
But it
it's in
plays.
the strip.
It also plays into it's. Vegas is designed to be artificial.
Designed to be comical.
It's like if you thought of a city that incorporated like wizardry in the real world, it would be like Vegas. Vegas is a unique place on the planet.
Yes.
Miami was just a fake marina and a motorway
Yeah.
and a
Who was
stadium.
it who did the fake swimming? Was it?
It was-
Craig Slater, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Miami, the theme throughout, but Miami, I think, won't be on the calendar for.
I think they'll
Long.
take it off and either go to another track in the US,
Or Kylie.
like Sebring. They're not going to get rid of a US one and put it somewhere else. They'll keep the US ones as 3. I like 3, but you
I don't-
have to think about the timing.
I don't mind 3
Bring back
US races.
Indianapolis.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
even mind that. Like,
Double header
Oh
with the
my God,
500.
I was about to say that.
You could run the race in the morning,
Yeah.
and then the other race in the
You
evening.
actually could. Oh no, you can't because they talked about it.
Did they?
Well, no, because they do like an IndyCar and NASCAR Cup, like almost triple header.
Yeah.
So do the IndyCar road track, NASCAR do the road track, and then NASCAR do the ring as well.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to get it from one to the other.
It's
So like, they have to do it like. Well, you got to make sure that you think how long a tech pro barrier takes to mend in that one race. and how many you'd have to move. Just
so
to
it's just
track
moving tech pros and stuff.
and setting it all up. So like it's a pain. Like you could do it if you did like the race on a Saturday.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. What do we? I mean, this was another thing quickly before we move on. The race was on a Saturday for the first time in ever.
Or was it a Saturday though?
It was a Saturday for them, and we are going to get Saturday races for
two.
us next year.
There's two of them.
Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, both going to be on a Saturday.
I don't know what the Bahrain is. I get why they've done it. I understand. I have
It's
no
for-
issue with it.
yeah.
It's to do with Ramadan. I
Yeah.
think. But it's like the season opener on a Saturday just feels wrong.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
It
I think
gives
I
me the
can
same
cope.
vibes as Spa before the summer break.
No, but that's just objectively wrong. I can
Yeah.
cope. I can cope with a Saturday season opener. Spa being before the summer break is
That's just criminal.
that's just a crime, exactly.
Yeah.
No, I think generally good weekend, enjoyable weekend.
Yes.
Predictions.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, let's move on to the
I know you
predictions.
definitely want to. Yes, unfortunately, because I wasn't in
You
that.
weren't present.
You weren't
So,
present, so
I went MIA, so Mr.
double agent Biddles.
Yes.
But I couldn't have done worse than you did the time before, when you got 0.
You did not pick
Yes.
Verstappen P1. That was a unique.
Yeah.
We chatted about this when we,
Yeah.
at the last show.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't call you an idiot, but
I
although
was.
heavily
I
implied.
was an idiot, but in hindsight, I was. But I thought, you know,
I think even pre-hindsight.
Track he's won the most at. Nah, he won't win.
yeah,
I saw the stat. Verstappen, since the start of last season, has won at every track except Singapore.
Yeah, he's also won 6 races in a row in America to be the joint most ever in America
Oh my
with
god.
Lewis.
but yeah. So, Will, so obviously the score was already.
Kingswood's favourite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He may have won. He may have closed up.
I think you've already. Yeah.
Have I clinched it now? Well,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah,
not
so-
ruin it. Let's announce my
okay,
genius.
I'm looking at the wrong one.
Oh, I've got them up here. Oh no, I've lost them again. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, I've got them up here as well in just 8 seconds.
So I was
There we go. No, okay, so 91.85 coming in.
91.85.
So 6 point ahead. So Will predicted Verstappen, Leclerc, Perez.
So
So that
perfect.
could not be good more perfect.
So is that the first perfect podium we've had?
Yes.
Oh yes,
9.
Yeah.
9
Merck
points.
had less than 15 points as your pointer. That actually happened, 7th and 8th.
Yep, 1 point.
2 pointer, restart carnage.
It was re/start carnage.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, well,
I would say
It was described as calamity by someone, so I will give you chaos.
yes.
yes.
Yeah. And 3-year driver goes past 360
I
kilometers.
am
out in
so
the speed
annoyed by this
And-
prediction
The fact you specified speed
because
trap,
I
track.
made it.
Because obviously
they put
Carlos
it in the
Sainz.
braking zone.
Yeah.
Oh.
Carlos Sainz did hit
I
366
think
kilometers per hour.
about 5 drivers hit
Of course he
360.
did. But Charlotte was the highest in the speed trap at 350.
Sadness.
So you,
I
so
was-
you got 12
I
points.
was semantics away from a perfect weekend.
You were,
Yeah.
and I was very far away from it.
Yes, because Biddles did a Sainz Norris Russell podium. The
Yeah.
fact that you put a Mercedes in that podium.
I don't think a Russell podium was
No.
It was looking good at the start.
unreasonable.
At one point, it was looking alright. I was
True.
like,
I think Russell
Yeah.
P3 was probably the best place
yeah.
to put a Mercedes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lewis didn't have a great weekend, and then
Yeah.
Sainz would have probably been on the podium if it had not been
It's
an
not.
egregious penalty.
It's
Yeah.
not a bad shout.
It wasn't. It could have been
It's
worse.
wrong.
It was very wrong. But at the time, it wasn't horrendous.
Yeah.
No. Fair enough. 1 point red flag in any session.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I mean-
no, a session abandoned.
Yeah. We'll go.
I
And
think
then
that's
the
at 1
second,
point.
and then 2 pointer. National anthem longer than 100 seconds.
It was. I woke up early enough so I could time
I think it was
it.
106.
It was
106.
106
seconds.
According to
Yeah.
you, it was 1:45, or 1:46:52, or
No, yeah.
something about that.
So it's
Yeah.
just.
So that's 2 points,
That's 3 in total.
and then Williams double.
That was looking so good as
That
well.
was actually
Oh
looking
yeah,
So,
So-
even like 10 laps in, it was looking good, and then
Yeah.
no.
So I got a grand total, 3 points.
3 points. I got 12.
103 to 88. I think you pretty much won it.
What's the game?
15 points. You'd have to have a perfect weekend.
And him do a year.
Zoo.
Yeah.
So I think you pretty much won it anyway. So
Is that the best? It's probably the best set of predictions
Must be.
cumulatively. I am
Yeah.
carrying, of course.
Yeah.
But best, I'd say they're my best
I mean, we
predictions
are going to
ever.
crown you the winner anyway, more or less anyway. So, Will Kingswood is pretty much the prediction.
That's not right. Let's not get too ahead
He's
of
in the same
ourselves.
position as Terrible Chair in F2. Like he needs like 1 point. And
Yeah.
then, like, he'll be fine.
Terrible chair, look, is he what?
He's like-
Almost guaranteed.
He's like 35 points ahead, and there's like 37 points in like an F2 weekend.
Where's he gonna go next year?
To a reserve driver spot.
Yeah.
I
IndyCar.
can see him replacing Bottas if he resigns. Oh, that's something we forgot to talk about quickly. Bottas calendar.
Yes.
What a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Are you buying it?
I'm really tempted. My sister's. Oh, that's such a good Christmas present for my sister's quite a big F1 fan.
Oh. Right.
That's such a good Christmas present. I am now. I actually might look into that.
Yeah.
Right. Hopefully, my sister's not listening to this podcast. I'm not looking for a Christmas present, but
Yes. But yeah.
But no.
But yeah.
it's quite fun and it's good. It's for charity, so it's a
Yeah.
good cause.
Fair enough. But yeah, we're heading to
Final predictions.
Oh.
I mean, shall we quickly preview Abu Dhabi before?
It's Abu Dhabi.
It'll be boring.
It's boring.
The usual. Why does Abu Dhabi need to be the final race in the calendar? And nobody wants.
Thing is, right,
It's just a.
as a race, I hate it, but like as like a spectacle, whenever I see it, there's something like it gives me like a special like nostalgic feeling about it.
Vegas final race of the season, final lap overtake at that point.
Vegas in December at like -3 degrees.
Let's do it. What could possibly go wrong?
I was thinking I was slightly biased because it's like Kimmy's first one back was in Abu Dhabi as well, so I have like semi-good memories from it.
2012
Yeah.
It was
should have been Lewis.
penultimate race.
Well,
He was leading that race by like 15 seconds, and then his
Don't
engine
take Kimmy's
No,
win away
No.
for someone that has 103
could
and
have
has been at
100.
that for 2 seasons now.
He did ruin the perfect level poles and wins.
Has it been
Unless
over
he-
2 years now since Lewis won?
Yes.
Saudi
Saudi Arabia, 2021.
No, it can't have been. When was Saudi Arabia? Saudi Arabia must have been around now.
It's around now. Yes, it's
Because
about
the
2 years
season
now.
and
Since
the
Lewis
season
won a
ended
race.
later. Hang on. Saudi Arabia 2021.
And pole position as well, wasn't it?
No,
No, he got that.
he got pole in Hungary.
He was the first
5th
one.
of,
Not,
5th
Oh,
of
yeah,
December.
Oh,
We've got
boo.
time.
he was the first person to get pole in Hungary and not win in Brazil for like
Yeah.
7 years.
Max Verstappen is the destroyer of
And
trends.
he-
Yeah, so, no, there are narratives for next week. The Ferrari v Mercedes.
I really hope we beat you.
I really hope we beat
After
you.
such a bad start to the season.
Well, it's not my fault George Russell's not carrying. That man has ended up in a barrier about 4 times when he could have been on the podium.
Yeah, but so Charles Leclerc's engine just blown up when
Ah,
he
sounds like... Yeah, but that just sounds like a Ferrari skill issue.
Yeah,
And George
and George Russell. Yeah, that's
George Russell literally crashing into a barrier when he's guaranteed third on the last lap.
Wasn't it second?
No, he was third. He was by Norris.
Yeah. Well,
So funny.
Lewis got that race. I'm fine with that.
12 points down the drain.
Yep.
I
Right.
mean, as Christian Horner said, change your car.
Yeah.
Didn't Horner say something? Oh yeah, didn't I forgot about that. The parade cars broke down, and then
Multiple.
then Horner had to go at Lewis or something, saying like
What?
Lewis's parade car.
One
Thought
of them literally leaked on the grid.
I think that was us. I was wondering when I saw the start, why is there so much oil dust everywhere?
Yeah, his Piastri's broke down. He's got him with Norris.
Yeah. Right, we've moved away. Back to predictions.
Okay.
It's your turn first.
Ooh, I think I might go Verstappen.
Yeah, you might get
Hard
Verstappen
choice.
this time, mate.
No.
There's one time he doesn't win.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Verstappen P1 has got 3 points for everyone except Singapore.
Singapore and
no, Baku.
Yeah.
Baku and
Saudi.
yeah.
He's not won 3 races this season. This is insane.
He's got more wins this year than people have ever had podiums in one season.
Has he? Oh my gosh.
He has 18 wins.
Really?
The most podiums for 17.
Oh my... Right.
That was Michael Schumacher, wasn't back in.
I think it was Schumacher and
Lewis
Lewis.
has done it as well.
I think, yeah,
Yeah.
he might have done it on a few occasions.
But I think Schumacher record break is it was 100%.
Hmm.
Yeah, 17 or 17.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One record Max hasn't got. Right, I'm going to go for
All because of Singapore.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hail the Singapore Grand Prix. I'm going to go for, you know what? Because of your, quite frankly, rude comments about Lewis Hamilton, I'm going to go Hamilton P1. Let's get
Yes!
it. It's going to be the greatest three-pointer of all time when he rounds the final corner to secure Mercedes P2 in the Constructors' Championship. And then Ferrari somehow comes second and third and take it away from him. I'm going to take Perez P2 as well.
Ooh.
Okay. I'll go Leclerc,
Yeah.
No.
and I'll take Sainz.
Oh. That's it. You don't think McLaren will do well?
No, don't say that because I'm going to say Norris. He said it. He can't take it back.
Yeah, no, I've already said I can't go back.
Right, I'll take Norris.
I was curious. Yeah. Seems like quite a McLaren track.
Yeah.
I don't know what is a McLaren track.
Like Suzuka.
Yeah, Suzuka.
So what isn't a McLaren track?
Vegas.
Yeah, but they did well.
Anything with really long straights.
Did they do well at Monza?
No. Don't think so.
Maybe it's
Not,
just-
not notably.
They did fine at. Oh no, they didn't do well at it's straights because they didn't do well at Mexico. either.
Yeah,
they were good in Brazil.
Yeah.
If I remember
Mm.
correctly.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the. Give me
Well,
one second.
Norris did well in Brazil.
So I googled Yas
Yeah.
Marino weather.
Paris, Piastri's actually been at this track before.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like the first time since Monza. It's a track he's raced at.
Surprisingly, it will not be
McLaren only
raining.
got 4 points in Monza. That was and through Norris P8.
I think Piastri should have got some if.
Well, Piastri got taken out by
I
Lewis.
That's
don't
true.
remember that.
You're the one that brought it up.
No, there's no consistency here.
It's fine.
So what's
Um,
your
One pointer. I am gonna say straight out Mercedes beat Ferrari.
You're 1 point.
Is that a 1 pointer?
I think that's,
That's
a 2.
saying that's definitely a 2 point.
Fine, I'm taking that as my 2 pointer.
So Ferrari have been better
My
for the
1 pointer over 2, so 3 or more mechanical DNFs.
So how many say?
3 or more mechanical DNFs
In for your 1 pointer.
for my 1 pointer. Because Abu Dhabi's always the graveyard of engines.
Yeah,
That's
but,
what
but,
Mercedes
but there's
last
no
year.
but there's no is there anyone like saying goodbye to any teams or anything? Like
No,
No.
None of the grid are moving at the moment. This
No.
is like the first time in, I want to say,
No, none that we know of. Is Bottas still here next year?
as far as we know, yeah.
Has Joe been renewed? Joe
everyone is still here.
Wow.
The only risk is really Perez, but I think
Perez
it's looking
and
nice.
maybe Sargent, but
No, I think
No,
Sargent's
Sargent's
been
got-
renewed.
oh yeah, he's
So
renewed.
I think this is the first time, and I want to say ever, that the entire grid will be the same as
What it was.
the year previous.
Because if
It's
anyone
not the same as what it started
Oh,
as,
we
though.
don't.
It's Danny Ricks, technically.
Yeah, well,
Or have you heard?
everyone's memory hold.
Have you,
big difference.
have you heard what the name will be potentially for
Oh,
the
it's
tower?
like racing bulls.
It is Racing Bulls.
Try and make it less obvious.
Can't wait for Crofty to have to try and like sort that out.
It's just Toro Rosso.
But if they switch the livery round so it's like red with a blue ball, that would look so sick.
So, Toro Rosso. A few years.
No, Toro Rosso never had like a red car.
They had a Red. Oh no, they did have a Red Bull. It's
Yeah.
quite funny that Toro Rosso is literally just a Red Bull in Italian.
Yeah.
It just sounds so much cooler
Yeah.
because it's in Italian. We keep
That's
sidetracking from the predictions. Did I say a 1 point? Yeah, I've done a one,
Yeah.
1 and a 2 point. 3 pointer. Let's go for 5 different teams in the top 5.
Okay. 5 different teams.
I'm gonna win. So
yeah, it doesn't even matter at this
But
point.
my Lander leads the most laps at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
we're gonna do an old 2014 and double the points.
Yeah.
Right, what are
So-
you going for?
My 1 pointer, 7 different teams in Q3.
Yeah.
2, I'm going the opposite. Ferrari and Mercedes.
Fair enough.
Yes.
And then my third 3 pointer. This is I'm actually trying to think of a nice. What could I do as a 3 pointer?
Thing is,
It means nothing.
because if you get it right,
You've got it. Yeah.
You've genuinely got a chance because in theory, if Merck turn up and they are bad, like they have been recently, all of his predictions are wrong.
So I might as
Apart from the top 5.
I might as well double down there.
Yeah, you've got to go for a prediction
You
that they
think
could
we'll
all be right at once.
Yeah.
To win, basically.
Which is what he's got so far.
It's going to be great when I get one. Oh no, if I get
If
my
you-
one,
if he-
my one
if
pointer
he beats
comes
you-
true.
That's outrageous.
Right. Let me look at the Drivers' Championship, and I'm going to do it from there.
All right.
So, right now, Sainz and Alonso are tied on 200, Norris on 195, Leclerc. Ooh. I don't know. No, I can't really think. I can't really do anything from there.
It can't be a three-way tie now, can it? Unless
No.
it would be a really
Well,
absurd.
Sainz and Alonso would have to be out.
And then Norris would have to finish P8 with the fastest lap.
Yeah.
It's a really absurd sort of.
Watch it happen.
Who would? Oh, It would be Sainz.
Sainz would win on countback.
Brooks, probably.
Who's had more seconds?
I'd say
More
Norris has
Alonso.
surely had more second places.
Alonso had a lot at the start.
Either or, we're just brainstorming what Jimmy thinks. I think it'd be Norris.
I assume it would be Norris.
Why don't you go Leclerc? Wait, where have you put Leclerc?
Second.
Yeah.
put Sainz
he's
third.
Sainz third. I was about to say Leclerc.
No more
takes-
than 2 Mercedes engine cars in the top 10.
Okay. Wait, Aston Martin,
Aston,
McLaren.
And Williams. Actually, no,
Williams.
make it 3.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
so-
three I think is
Three's
good.
valid, I think.
Yeah. No more than 3 Mercedes. So,
So 3 or less.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so you'd have what? Both McLarens and say Lewis, and then
Yeah.
George probably crashes into a wall.
You should double down on this. You should
That's
you
not-
should bet
that's
on all
what it
these
is.
results and see what the odds are. Like 1,000 to 1.
Jeez.
Yeah.
You podcasted.
No, I reckon he's got a chance, you know.
No, I think he's got a chance, but I don't think I'm gonna score 1 point. I think at the very least.
Yeah.
But your 1 point is 3 or more mechanical DNFs.
Yeah, but he's got Perez in the top 3. And no,
This
Perez
was-
can't do it. Perez can't get a podium.
Perez is alright in Abu
I
Dhabi.
can't believe you let me have Leclerc and Perez on the podium for Las Vegas. Because you could have taken one of them.
I took Sainz over Leclerc. What was I doing?
Well, yeah. I partially blame me for not choosing Verstappen.
That
And-
was entirely your fault.
Yeah. No,
But
because
there's
partially
also
for me
times when I
losing.
gained you like 8 points earlier in
Yeah.
the year as well.
And I blame him as well.
I was yeah, but
Yes, I made you get like 1 point and him
Yeah.
get like 10.
yeah, but in Brazil I was like I think Alonso.
You were like one thing away from getting a perfect weekend.
Yeah,
as well.
again, I'm on a hot streak at the moment.
He's
Yeah.
doing very well.
Let's see if we can finish it off. Oh my god, it's
Yeah.
final F1 race of the season.
I know.
What a season! This is one of the seasons of all time.
It'll be our last season review at Warwick.
Yeah.
How sad.
Well, we've got more to do. We've got livery reviews. We've got
Yeah.
got to do that 2021 review
At some point.
at some point where we just argue about it for 3 hours.
That'll be something we definitely don't do
No.
in the studio. We'll just do like
Yeah,
in a room
in a
somewhere.
pub.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but we'll be
Yeah.
back. We'll be back next week to discuss all things Abu Dhabi and the final race of the season. Yeah, I've been Will. This is also Will.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, and thank you for listening.